Hello, welcome to another video from me, Mr. Morrison. Today we're going to create this Beat the Goalie game in Scratch. You might have seen a goal game from me before, but this one is a little bit different. So here I am controlling the ball at the bottom with my arrow keys, and the goalie is going back and forth in a random speeds, and I am trying to get the ball into the goal without the goalie getting it or missing the goal completely, and I have 60 seconds to do that. So let's get started and create this. So you're going to go onto Scratch, press create, and you'll get to this screen. First thing you're going to do is choose a backdrop. We need to look up soccer because that is the word for football where Scratch is made. Then I need to go into this backdrop and I'm going to adjust it. So I'm going to select backdrops up here, and I would like to make the goal a bit higher up. So I'm going to use the selection tool here. I'm going to select from one corner to the bottom like this, and then I'm going to move my mouse up. So now we've got space at the bottom. I'm then going to fill, and I'll choose the grass to fill in the rest of the grass at the bottom with the paint bucket. So now we have a pitch with a goal further up, so there's more space for the ball to be rolling. The next thing we need to do is we need to select a colour for the ball to end at, so to show that we've scored a goal. So I'm going to zoom in here to the goal, and I need to choose a unique colour. I'm going to maybe go purple because there's little bits of purple in the goal. And then I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to draw a line from one side of the goal to the other. You need to be careful with your mouse movements as you do that. So we've got a line at the back because I need to use that colour to determine where the ball is, whether it's in the goal or not. So next thing we need to do is create our code. In fact, while we're on this screen, let's duplicate this and create a game over. So all we need to do is once we've duplicated it, type in the words game over. So I'm going to go for red. We've got game over there. And I'm going to change it to be pixel because I quite like that. So that's my game over screen. I can name this game over. So that means we've done everything in the backdrops. I'm then going to go over to the code and I'm going to choose a sprite. Now I am going to choose a character, footballer. So I'm going to choose Ben here. You can choose a different character. Two-legged character would be good so it's easy to match up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him somewhere up here and I'm going to make him smaller. I'm going to make him size 80 and I'm going to get rid of my sprite one as well. I'm also going to jump in here for a second to go back to that backdrop so that I'm not having the game over in the way. I can change the colour of Ben's top here as well, so I'm going to make him blue because I'm from Scotland, so that is our colours. I could make him blue and some white as well. There we go. So, I should have some blue socks as well. Let's go for blue socks. So there we are. So that's him now ready to play. So let's go into the code section and I need a green flag. So when green flag is clicked, we're then going to create a variable, and this is going to be goalie speed. So make it goalie speed. You can have a space in the middle. I used an underscore. It doesn't matter for this. So I'm going to have goalie speed and I'm going to set goalie speed to 5 to begin with. I'm then going to have a go to and I'm going to set this to -1 and 93. And what I want is I want his foot to be a bit below the white line so it's easy to know whether he's scored or not. Then I am going to do this, I'm going to go forever, which is in control, forever, and change x by, and then the goalie speed. So I need to find my variable, my goalie speed, and actually I'm going to untick this goalie speed because we don't need it displaying on screen. Then I'm going to go back to control and find an if, then, and I'm going to find an operator, and this is going to be my x position is going to be greater than 120. So I'll just find my x position for a second. So it's in here in motion. So if x position is greater than 120, we're going to go into variables and set goalie speed to, in our operators, pick a random number between -4 and 8. Okay, so that's -4 and -8. It's important to be both minus. I can duplicate this again, and actually I'm going to have to take this bit out. I'm going to have to change this one to go the other way. So x position is going to be less than 120, and then these numbers need to be +4 and +8. And I need to make sure and a minus in the bottom one. So now it should work. My goalie goes back and forth like that. So the next step of this project is to work with a ball. So I'm going to choose a sprite, and I'm going to look for soccer ball because that is a football. And then I am going to do a couple of things. We'll keep the size 100. I'm going to move it down here. I'm going to go when green flag is clicked. There's quite a lot of code for this one. I'm going to make a variable called score. So we're going to say when green flag is clicked, we're going to set score to 0. Then I'm going to go to, which is in here, I'm going to go to 0 and -140. And then I'm going to go for show. And then we're going to have a forever. So a forever if is the first step. So we need different things to happen for the goal. We're going to get it to move left and right, and on spacebar it's going to shoot. If it touches one of these, then we're going to change something. So first of all, it's going to be if, and then in sensing, key and left arrow is pressed. Then we're going to change x by -5. I'm then going to duplicate that, and I'm going to change it to be right arrow and +5. I'm then going to duplicate one more time, and I don't need the X one, but I can keep this and make it space. So if key space is pressed, then there's a few things going in space. We're going to have a control, which is repeat until. So repeat until. And then we're going to change Y, which is in motion, change Y by 10. And I'm also going to be in looks, change size by -2. So that's going to make the football look like it's disappearing. And then you notice I haven't put in the repeat until bit yet. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to need an operator because we're going to have two options. So an operator, an OR operator, and then we'll get a sensing. So if touching color, and here's where that color we put at the back comes in. So the purple, if touching purple, or touching Ben, or whatever your character is called, then that means we're going to do something. So that means the ball's going to go until this happens. Then we're going to put in another if statement in this loop, and it's going to go below the change of size by -2. And I'm going to duplicate the touching color one, and I'm going to have a variable change score by, so change that to say score by 1. Then I'm going to have a wait in the bottom here, a wait 0.5 seconds, and then I go to and the 0 and -140, and then a loops, which is set the size to 100. Now it's not working because I've put this bit in the wrong place. It needs to go up one step, so it's within the if space key is pressed. So now hopefully, yes, my ball goes left and right and it shoots. There we go. So I've noticed one error in the code, and that is if we shoot the ball to the other side of the goal, then it disappears and it doesn't come back. So I need to make sure it comes back, and that's where I'm going to put in an extra or statement. So repeat until touching color, or touching bin, or touching edge. And then that means any of the above, it'll reset and go back to the start. Okay, there's a final thing I want, which is my timer. So I'm going to do the timer on a backdrop. So if I go onto backdrop, we can actually add some code onto the backdrop. So when green flag is clicked, we are going to switch backdrop to and soccer. Then we're going to make a variable called timer, and we're going to set the timer to, and you can actually choose, I'm going to go for 60 seconds. Then we're going to go into our control and repeat until, and operators, timer is equal to 0. So let's find our variable timer again. Timer is equal to 0. Then we're going to have a wait 1 second. Let's find our wait command, and then change timer by 1. And finally, we're going to switch backdrop to our game over, and we need to, in control, stop everything. So the final thing I need to do is make sure that this timer has a -1 in it, so it counts down, and then I can test the whole game, and yeah, that seems to be working. So lots of things you could do to expand this game to make changes, but this is a simple game. I hope you enjoy creating it, and I'll see you in another video sometime soon.